which is more of a replacement situation. Yes, I made it this week. Welcome to amorephillyunion, the podcast where at least we didn't lose. We are your hosts. I'm C.
I'm E.
And I'm Paul.
And yeah. 2 games, 2 draws. But we'll get into it. First, most importantly, help the U challenge and getting towards our 3,000 download goal. E?
We are just a hair north of 2,500 downloads. That's 50
Oh my goodness.
downloads.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got less than 500 to go technically. So we are definitely on our way. We're freshly into the month of June, which means our statistics page looks quite empty and bare as we don't have, we're only a couple of days in. But it is interesting to note on the domestic front, the state with the most downloads of our podcast is not Pennsylvania. It is California. California's in the lead this month. So
Really?
yeah. So I don't know.
Okay.
Home field advantage needs to pick it up, or extra special thanks to everybody in California. But
yeah.
Who'd you tell about the podcast? That's
we bought a billboard out there in the greater Bay Area. But yeah, so interesting. I thought it was interesting. I mean, it's very, very early in the month, and I'm sure the numbers will change, but it was kind of fun to see that when they pull up the little graphic of the continental US and it color codes the states by the number of downloads, and California was the one sticking out the most. I was like, something's different.
Well, it's still pretty awesome that we're up over 2,500 downloads total.
Yeah.
People keep finding us, and that's great. I hope they keep coming back.
Yeah, thank you very much, and seeing the light at the end of that tunnel.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a train, so we're good. So getting towards our 3,000 download goal. At that point, we will make a contribution to the foundation. But if you would like to help a little more directly, you can go to the philadelphiafoundation.org website and click that donate button, and get involved in all the great stuff they do for youth in general, especially in the Chester and surrounding Delco region. So
very cool.
Awesome.
Okay. So shall we go for it?
That's very appropriate.
I cannot do like Ariana Grande, but yes. So two games this week. One semi worth talking about. Both draws, like I said, but let's begin at the beginning. Union versus Toronto, 0-0 tie.
Yeah,
my almost least favorite score. So
this was tough because this was coming home after the Charlotte 0-0.
Yeah,
Toronto's been playing well. Can't
Mm-hmm.
really argue that. They've been playing pretty well under Herdman this year, and they seem to be finding their form, and they were ahead of Union in the standings. So getting anything out of this is obviously better than getting nothing out of this. But there was a game.
Yeah,
it's happened.
Yeah, I have to take people's word for it that there was a game. I slept through some of it, and I guess that says something. I don't know.
You were awake for the second half.
Yeah.
But again, not a whole lot there. Yeah, my notes on this are extremely limited. I guess my biggest takeaway from this, other than that we didn't score, was probably that Glesnes just seems off, right?
I think that's kind of a theme in these games.
Yeah.
Something's not right with Glesnes.
Yeah. I feel like we've seen that a few times this season, some strange clearances or attempts at clearances. Not trying to zero in on him as the source of all evil at all, but it just seems like seems like something is sideways with him. So I didn't know if you guys felt the same, hadn't really noticed, hadn't really agreed. But
I thought that they were a little more settled in this game though, because it was that back four that have that a little bit of chemistry. You know, Wagner out left, Elliot Glesnes in the middle, and then they put Harriel out right, and then they didn't start Martinez because he's still kind of recovering from something, and was another opportunity for Flock to start in that defensive midfield position, and he certainly does a good job there, but he doesn't provide as much going forward as Martinez does, but he also tends not to get the antagonizing fouls that Martinez gets as well. So from a defensive standpoint, it was pretty solid. I was okay with it. I didn't really notice Glesnes getting out of whack. Although I would just say just the three center backs, Glesnes, Elliott, and Lowe, like there's just always a couple of moments in every game where you're just wondering why the heck they're doing what they're doing, or why aren't they doing something they should be doing.
Yeah, the note that spurred my comment in this particular game, although there's stuff from other games and not going to get into it, but I noticed Glesnes was up really far, and no sin. There's box to box defenders, that's fine, but I don't really think of him that way, and it just felt like I wanted him to be with the recent misadventures he's had. I kind of didn't want him to be trying to play box to box or box-ish to box, It's just,
I will say
me.
though that typically when he matches up with Elliott's the stay-at-home defender, and Glesnes gets a little more freedom to roam.
Yeah, I can see that too.
But yeah, this was the one. This was, Carranza did not start in this Toronto game because apparently he picked up a knock, some sort of
right
the day before. So it was Sullivan up top with Aura, and then Gazdag underneath. So the mini triangle of death.
Yeah.
This was also the game where they started subbing in Baribo a tiny bit more. They took Aura out and sub Baribo in, which I know that they have. I know he's played before, but it's usually like an 89th minute substitution kind of thing. So
yeah, he came on in the 78th.
Yeah, I didn't actually write it down, but I will take your word for it on that.
The box score from the
good, because I'm not.
I didn't remember that. That was straight up off the website here, but yeah, apparently they did a 3-player sub in the 78th minute. Bedoya, McLean, and Aura came off for Donovan, Martinez, and Baribo.
It's interesting that looking at that initial lineup with Flock in that back center defensive midfield position, I knew that Martinez got subbed in, and when I was reviewing the notes here, it's just like, oh yeah, Martinez did come in, but not for Flock. Came in for McLean. I think Flock played the whole game. I think, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
which was interesting. I mean, I don't have anything more to say than that. I just assume it was the Flock Martinez exchange, but
Toronto did win on the yellow card accumulation. Philly Bedoya got a yellow card in the first half, but then Toronto got 2 in the second to win that competition. So,
well, cards is an excellent transition if we want to just move it right along.
Yeah, let's move it right along
to Montreal on Saturday, because that game got a little chippy.
Got a little spicy.
That was probably the most exciting of the 3 draw games in a row. So saving the best for last. I don't know.
Almost felt like it because of that. I don't know the rest, but Ted Uncle's name I've heard before.
Ted Uncle is awesome.
Hard not to remember that one.
Yeah.
Especially since there was at one point when they were either reviewing one of the calls in the game, and there was a guy clearly behind the referee with some sort of a sign making fun of Uncle Ted, as the sign said. And so yeah, I guess he's pretty well known to the some of the Union fans. And they don't particularly like him.
Not a fan. I feel like there was some match where we were noting that just the funniness of his name, which because you guys have an Uncle Ted and
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. So but then things went sour for us in that game, and I thought, ooh, I don't know if we want to keep drawing that comparison. But yeah, so I'm not surprised there was a sign. Although sign's not too common at the park, so must have really had some strong feelings.
Yeah.
But so this was a game that on paper we quote unquote should have won.
Yep.
We're at home again for this game. And first minute Montreal scores.
Seriously,
first minute, babies.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Was it Montreal just getting lucky or a lapse of defense on our part? Combination of both.
Is it the takeoff and landing danger situation?
Right? Things always happen at the beginning and the end of a particular period.
I mean, ironically enough, since we were watching this on a plane. But
too bad we weren't playing San Jose because it would be quakes on a plane.
Oh my God.
Good night, everybody.
And everybody just stopped listening. Okay, great. Well, it's just us now, guys. So say whatever you think.
Eric sucks.
All right. I've been debating over this with the podcast, but
go for it.
Damien Lowe scares me out there.
All right, hold on. Let's talk about that. I absolutely want to talk about that. I just want to point out something real minor before we jump in, because I think that is probably the big topic from this game.
Yeah, I agree.
Just for me watching the game, just a couple of things of note. I don't know if Curtin's trying things out, if it's resource allocation as people are injured, right? Because again, Blake is still out, Carranza is still out. But in terms of this game, the lineup was a little bit different because Gazdag was up top in this game.
Yes,
he wasn't in that center midfield. It was definitely more of a packed midfield with the Gazdag up top. So I don't know if we were gunning for the points, the goals right off the bat, but that did not happen. And Damien Lowe, I think.
So and why he was out there, because he was out there with Glesnes and Elliott as they switched to a 3 in the back, or sort of a 3-5-2, or possibly a 5-3-2.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear you guys react that way, because I listened to some podcasts and nobody seemed to be talking about this, but Damien Lowe just seemed completely out of sync with the rest of the team in this game. His pressure was coming at the wrong time.
Yep.
People didn't seem to know where he was going.
Yep.
This first goal came about, Montreal gets an attack, gets the ball, gets it up the field, then pushing up. Martinez doesn't seem to communicate, he steps to the ball at one part and nobody picks up Sanusi or whatever the guy's name is, and suddenly he's in 15 yards of space at the top of the 18-yard box, and he takes a nice shot. It's a good shot. Don't get me wrong. It's well placed. It doesn't have blistering pace on it, but it's well placed, and he beats Semla. I would like to think that Blake probably could have made that save, but who knows? It's tough to call, but the whole rest of the game that Lowe's out there, and he's not subbed off. He plays the whole game. Just every time I'm just worried about what's he going to do? Where is he going to be? Is he going to be in the right place? I mean, he's got tremendous recovery speed. He's so fast. In fact, I think there was at one point in the second half, they did a little stat on the thing of players and top speed from a number of players. And Emzo was almost a mile per hour faster than everybody else.
But
I think Baito had the fastest, I think.
Yeah.
But
Lowe was second.
Yeah.
But
third,
I felt very uneasy with him out there.
Yeah.
Well, and then on top of that, I mean, we have made jokes since the beginning of this pod about Martinez and his temper and the wild card. I don't worry about him anymore. I don't. I worry about Lowe. And there's something a little bit more like concerning. Like, I don't know. At least now, it's hard to remember what it was like in Martinez's wilder days. Since he's kind of reined it in. But Lowe's temper when something goes sideways is tough to check, and it's starting to seem like almost any time he's challenged, and he doesn't know when to quit. It's from what I've seen. So I mean, granted, he didn't get the red card for us in this game.
He didn't even get the yellow card in this one.
No, but
lucky.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Gazdag got a yellow, and then there was the red card to Elliott later on in the game.
I had a note here that we would have to recalibrate from last season our Letou Martinez scale of on-field chippiness. How Martinez was kind of the Letou was at the base end of the spectrum. We're getting no yellow cards, and Martinez was the other end. We're most likely to get yellow cards. I think we might have to recalibrate this to a Damien Lowe level.
Letou Lowe. It works on a alliterative level, so maybe
the Letou Lowe scale.
Yeah.
And also credit to Martinez. I feel like he's doing a lot of good work on himself. He's a little bit calmer out there. Still gets a little hot under the collar time to time, but
I still hold that he has found that line that he can ride up to and not get the yellow card for dissent. At least except for occasionally, like about every fifth game or so, he gets the yellow card for dissent. But otherwise, he's riding that line as to how physical he can get.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, but I'm in step with you guys. There were so many times during this game. It was just like, Lowe, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like between reckless plays to just getting fired up when you need to just walk away, and I don't know. I mean, maybe he's got something going on in his world. I don't know, but 100% Paul, 100%. Damien Lowe made me nervous in this game.
And the team didn't just seem to have trouble. They seem to have trouble connecting smoothly in this game. Like obviously, spoiler alert or not, it's a 2-2 draw. And the Union gave up a goal in the first half, in the first minute. In the second half, they get they get two in pretty quick succession. One was the first one with a PK.
But I think it's worth mentioning though that at this point, Montreal was now down a man.
Yes.
And we get these two goals, which is like, all right, we equalize, and now we're in the lead, and
they give one up
like within a minute or two.
No, it was 8 minutes separate the second Philly goal and Montreal's game tying goal.
I think what you're thinking of is Jack Elliott got his red card in the 63rd minute. And until they got started again, it was the 66th minute, and they scored almost immediately. So it did feel like two events in quick succession. So that's even though there was some time in between there for filling out forms and things you do for cards, but it did feel like boom, boom, boom as a result. I mean, but truly it was Ua in the 58th, 63rd for Jack, his red card, and then 66th the equalizer. So it's a lot happening in essentially 10 minutes.
So did you guys think that PK was warranted?
Hold on, I'm trying to replay it in my head here. Oh, the one with on Gazdag when he ran in.
Yeah. I mean, the keeper took him out.
Yeah.
There's no denying that the keeper did not get the ball, and the keeper took out Gazdag. So, yeah, I don't have a problem that it was a PK, but at the same point, I don't know that Gazdag would have gotten that ball after he touched it. Like, he touched it past the keeper. I don't know if he was going to get to that ball again before it went over the end line.
But I guess that's kind of immaterial, right? It's the fact that the keeper took him out. And it was. Yeah, I think it was a valid call. I think it was a legit call, And
it was good to see Gazdag convert another penalty to get back onto the thing. Unfortunately, that now ties him. I say unfortunately because it was a penalty kick that ties him with Letou for the current scoring record for the Union. Both of them have 50 goals in
50 MLS goals, right? Yeah, we had that. It's the yeah, it's like the IRS tax code of stats. It's like this is 50 MLS goals, not all competitions. In all competitions, I think now Gazdag
like
actually leads
56 or
in all,
57.
right? I think he
Yeah,
leads.
he's the head.
Yeah.
Gazdag head. It is.
Honestly, up until this, I had an even more obscure stat. Although it's a little bit of a joke, but I was wondering how many minutes a team had played in another team's half without scoring, because that seemed like we were going for that one for sure,
Yeah.
up until the penalty between the last game and this one.
I know, and Christy and I, we talked about this, right? Montreal, Yankov or Yankov, I think you pronounce it,
I believe
and
so.
Lassiter. So Yankov,
Yakov.
I
Yakov?
think he caught, I think he actually caught Lowe with an elbow. Oh, that's right. He came running in with his elbow up. And I thought that was a pretty rough challenge, and he did get a yellow card for it. But and then Lassiter kind of collided with Martinez, but kind of again he had his elbow up, and then the ref Ted Uncle gave him a yellow card, and then went back for review and upped it to a red card. Which, again, I tend to, all things being equal, I tend to trust the reviews. The VAR, it's like, look, we have multiple sets of eyes rewatching this. They got to be seeing more than I'm seeing, so I'm going to default to them. So them getting Montreal getting the red card, it seemed fine. But the Jack Elliott collision, like, warranted his red card. Yeah, I hate to say it, I'm kind of okay with it. It was a rough challenge. I don't know if it was a necessarily straight red card offense, but I guess he had his studs up, and his knee did seem to go into the other guy's like lower abdomen, and that can't feel good.
Well, that and the other guy's knee got apparently messed up.
Yeah.
Forcing a stretcher, to come onto the field, take him off.
Did they sub him out? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah, Raheem Edwards, I believe it was, who
was right.
Stretchered off the field after that combination or that connection with Elliott in the 63rd minute. Yeah, I mean, even Curtin said in his post-game conference saying, hey, Elliott got the ball. Was it harsh? Maybe, but it was two players going in for the ball, and one of them got there and the other one took the brunt of the hit. It's a red card. It is what it is, and they can try to appeal it, or I actually had heard something about possible additional games being
suspension or.
Yeah, to Elliott, I think it's still up in the air at this point exactly what's going to happen with that. But
because it was studs up, or because
I don't know. I'm not really sure what they're looking at. I mean, there are certain people who believe that it shouldn't have even been a foul. Some think that it should have been a yellow card. Some agreed that it should have been a red. Some, I guess, think it should be a multi-game red.
Some think it should be a
blue. Honestly, no. I haven't really watched it because I was pretty frustrated at the situation.
Yeah, no, understandable. But I mean, of those kinds of challenges I've seen ones where it's very clear that the defender is just straight up trying to take out player and not even trying to go for the ball, and that's more egregious than this. But I do see why this would be a red.
And we've talked about it on the podcast. Like, Elliott is surprisingly card. He's a card magnet.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, when they pulled out the yellow card, I may have yelled, "I told you." Not like anybody was disputing me. Eric didn't say a word, but I guess to the universe. So when it went red, then I felt a little worse.
Yeah. So it's a shame. The Union up 2-1 seemed like they were in the driver's seat to get this win. Finally break the Union Yards curse, as people are starting to refer to it. Although I did hear one podcast mention that, hey, it's actually been since Matt Real left that they haven't won a game at home.
Interesting.
So. Oh man, the stats are flying thick and fast, aren't they? Holy crow. No, That's what. Well, truly though, at least, I mean, not a win, not what we wanted, not
No.
losses though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the last 4 games at home were losses. So, I mean, I hate to count our blessings. We want to do more than that. But, if we can staunch the bleeding, it's something. So
it's kind of sad though that the Union have more wins away than they do at home so far
right.
this season.
Up is down, black is white, night is day.
Yeah.
I will point out there were 2 things that happened in this Montreal game. One was down at the river end section, there was a banner hanging up, and it was an homage to Terrence and Phillip and South Park, where it was with Cartman with an expletive about Canada. So I like to think that someone from Sons of Ben heard our podcast from last week as we expressed
Canada. Blame Canada.
We take credit for that.
And then there was
TM on that.
Yeah, exactly. And then Christy, there was something else that the announcer said, and I cannot remember what it was, but it was definitely like something we had talked about. It was definitely more of a lighter, goofier nature. And I was like, hey, he must have listened to our podcast. And I cannot remember what it was.
Oh, sir, why didn't you write it down? Because I can't remember it either.
I'll remember it, but I didn't. But anyway, I appreciate the Canada banner hanging up there in the Sons of Ben.
Absolutely.
So if they are listening, maybe they could reach out and shoot us an email and just let us know.
Yeah.
Love to know it. We're not asking you to credit us or anything like that. That's just awesome. We just love the fact that you guys are listening.
Hey, maybe we'll even set up an interview with you guys.
There you go.
A little enticement out there. I mean, it's just, hey, we enjoy interacting with the larger union and soccer world out there.
Absolutely.
Making friends.
Yeah.
Well,
so
have we rung
in draws before the international break? Yay.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, one little bit of good news is that Aura did get a goal in open play in this Montreal game.
Yes. So. It was a really pretty goal because he got the ball just right at the edge of the box. And, that defender did lose his footing under him. And that gave Aura the time and space to relax and just set up his shot on net. And it was the announcer even, controlled class, right? I threw that one out, and then one of the announcers said later, so Jinx, buy me a Coke.
That was it. That was what you were trying to remember.
Was that what I was trying to remember?
That's what you were trying to remember.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
there it is.
That goal was class. And then
that's it.
So
yeah, I thought you were quoting Dairy Girls when you said that, actually. But well, on just a silly fun note to slide into the rest of this. I noticed that their jerseys, maybe they've been like this all season, but I didn't see it before. But the backs of them are super meshy. Like you could fully see through them. So I assume it's like a warm weather thing.
I wonder,
I don't know. It was vaguely reminding me of those football jerseys that boys used to wear like in the 80s.
Yep.
super meshy look, but you could fully see their sports bras, heart monitors, things that they wear, which I thought was a strange choice, but hey, so don't know if anybody knows what the deal is with that. Please share, because always curious about the details like that. So okay,
I think we're done with the game.
Yeah, I think we've done what we can do. So let's move on. We have some call-ups to talk about. So despite our opinions, Damien Lowe has been called up for Jamaica's World Cup qualifiers. So good luck.
Damien Lowe.
Let's be honest, that's a big honor for him, and we do want him to do well and succeed.
Oh, 100%. No, I'm sorry, I was just referencing Hamilton and being obnoxious. But
I think he's actually played in the midfield at like a 6, a defensive midfielder position for Jamaica.
Okay,
I could see him actually doing a very good job there.
Yeah,
for the Union as well, if we didn't already have Flock and Martinez in that role.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see where he gets used for Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These are what, World Cup qualifiers, I think?
Yep. Yeah. That's specifically it. So, and Jack McGlynn and Nathan Harriel, perhaps unsurprisingly, called up for the US U23 camp.
And congrats to him, but
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that Sullivan didn't get included, didn't get
Yeah.
added.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
I mean, I guess it depends on what other attacking midfielders or forwards they're bringing into the camp, you know.
Just judging on form, though, I would have thought Sullivan would have been very appealing to the coach.
Yeah.
You're right, E. I mean, who knows who else he's calling in.
I wonder too if there's a discussion with the US team management and the various teams they pull from, because you kind of don't want a coach saying, I'm going to take these 8 players from this one particular team, because then, you know, I almost wonder if it's kind of like, I have no idea. I'm just absolutely spitballing this, but it's kind of like, you know, was
Noah's Ark situation. Only 2, only 2.
Exactly. Right. And so it's kind of like, well, you know what? McGlynn is a little bit more senior than Sullivan in terms of his experience with the union. So maybe it's, you know,
Could be.
I don't know.
I guess it's nice to know that showing a little leg isn't enough to get you on the U23.
The
Yeah.
quad father.
There was a guy on the Montreal team, or was it the Toronto game that was totally doing, also pulling a total Sullivan?
Yeah, there was one of the matches we watched recently where there was a lot of short hiking happening.
They really just have to make that 70s style short an option for the players.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's just do it. Yeah.
That some of them want just as little fabric down there as possible.
Yeah.
Not asking for booty shorts like you know, or anything like that for them. But,
just say like juicy across the butt
or whatever, you know. OC, you know, OCNJ, you know.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
That would be awesome.
Well, maybe just Delco. Just Delco.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. Or Chesco, since they're in
Chesco.
Chesco.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, we need to get a Wawa sponsorship on the uniform.
Really?
I mean, that even fits. It's 4 letters. Wawa.
Wah.
W-A on each cheek.
2 on each cheek. That's right.
Oh, Lordy. Well, there you have it.
New merch.
Yeah, new merch.
$1 million ideas, guys. We're just here for the taking. Yeah. So, and then last, am I going to get this right? David Vasquez was called up for it. Is that forgive my ignorance. Is that the same thing as McGlynn and Harriel, but the U19?
No.
Okay. Different situations, because it looked like U19 men's youth national team was the way I interpreted it. But if you have a different,
no, it's the Olympic team is the U23 team that has a couple of older exceptions that they're allowed to add into it, and that's the one that McGlynn and Harriel call.
Okay. And this is something else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's a U19 team playing in some series of games at this time.
Okay. So, some more call-ups.
It's crazy though to think how young these guys
are. Right?
They're still developing. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Because I know there's been, and understandably, there's frustration with the union's seeming lack of movement on players and who they're bringing in.
And the table itself, we're still sitting in 8th place.
But at the same point, how many players could we have brought in that would play as well as Harriel, as well as McGlynn, as well as Sullivan? We got them out of the academy, not necessarily for free, but we didn't have to pay to bring them in. They came up through the program, and now they're contributing at a very high level. And then there's more behind them with Raffanello getting options. Baribo's actually starting to see some life. Who knows? Maybe that will actually happen for him. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a great solution, but could you imagine if we had, say, 8 players contributing as well as Harriel, McGlynn, and Sullivan that came out of our academy then backed up by a good solid keeper like Blake and 2 or 3 designated players in the attack, that would be a scary team if if that eventually comes to pass. I don't know if that's where they're going, but I mean, there certainly seems to be a good amount of players coming out of the academy, and if they get their opportunities, they seem to step up into it. And not all of them. Obviously, Matt Real got moved on to another lower level team, but the opportunities are there. I mean, even Matt Freese is now solid starting goalkeeper for NYCFC.
Yeah.
Zach McMath is still playing.
Yeah.
I think McCarthy's still at least in the mix out there in LA.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to see the Union splash big money, bring in really great names, and have a great team. But same point, I'm not totally down on how they're doing it.
I'm not either. And I get frustrated. I mean, I know we've kind of talked about this before, so I don't want to belabor it. But we've started to see a lot of success with those guys, and a combination of that and people we've brought in. But I don't, Messi notwithstanding, it's old argument I always make, which is bringing in a big name doesn't necessarily mean it can be a retirement situation.
Yeah.
Where they're going to phone it in. It can be, they're great, but they don't mesh with the rest of the team, which is more of a replacement situation. Yes, I made it this week. How about that?
Drink,
everyone drink.
So, but truly, I think that, I like the way we're doing the academy stuff. I mean, I hope it continues to succeed. If we can find someone who works well with that, super, yes, spend the money, great, but to get, some big name just to get a big name doesn't mean much to me, because it hasn't generally worked for us.
One of the MLS Extra Time podcasts this week was talking because Pachuca beat Columbus for the CONCACAF Champions Cup this weekend. And they pointed out that Pachuca over the last 25 years has won more titles than any team in North America. And Pachuca is known to have a very good scouting network and a very good academy, and that they bring their players up from within. And they have had tremendous success over the last 25 years doing that. So I'm not saying that the Union are necessarily in that mold, but if they were to take that, it seems like Pachuca is proof that can win. Of course, we would really love to see the Union actually win something. So let's see where that happens.
I think kind of the only truly unequivocal measure of success for this whole experiment that is the Philadelphia Union is the MLS Cup. Don't get me wrong, I would like to, back when we used to compete in Open Cup, that would be awesome. And, Champions League Cup of Nations, whatever it's called. Sure, that's not going to say no to silverware, but the true vindication of this whole thing will be the MLS Cup. That's not to say if we don't get it, it's a failure. I think it's just that is kind of the goal, and it's watching the team the past few years, the whole academy program, we've talked about this, we do have this nice pipeline of these young, promising players coming in. We sell them, some of them we sell off, some of them keep moving up and, through our first team, like McGlynn and Sullivan. And, I mean, to be honest, their days here are probably numbered. They're going to get bought up by somebody else, and rightly so. So I just find myself asking the question. It's like, this structure by itself of the academy system feeding into our starting team. What's it called? The first team. It's kind of like if that system is like an engine, if the horsepower is not enough, I don't know if it by itself is going to get us to MLS Cup. It could. I mean, hey, we were there, 2 years ago? 100%. We can do it. We can. But it just feels like last year and this year, the system is not producing enough power in it to push through, deal with the resistance the rest of the league is giving us. I don't know. So maybe it is worth splashing a little money at some point and get a little infusion of some, turbo powered, star power on our team. I don't know. I mean,
we have a turbo-powered 14-year-old who's on the injury list, so I guess we'll see what happens.
Like Kevin's on the injury list.
Isn't that why he's not?
No, he's getting brought up through Union 2.
He was on the injury list at one point, so but my information might be old. But
I thought he wasn't allowed to stay up that late.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Mrs. Sullivan, can Kevin come out and play with the Union? He did get his homework done. He's grounded. Sorry, guys.
Kevin!
Kevin. Who's the Winnie Cooper in this scenario? All right, let's move on.
That's enough. Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
Oh, you're fine. All right. So that said, I think we can move on to All-Star voting is open. Vote early, vote often until June 10th. And that is, let's see.
And when is the All-Star game?
I can tell you.
And where will it be held?
I can tell you that in a minute.
Tell me about it, stud.
Oh boy. July 24th, in the year of our Lord 2024, at Columbus. It will be MLS versus Liga MX or Liga. How do I say that properly, guys? I don't want to do them an injustice.
The All-Stars from La Liga, the Liga MX.
Okay, Liga MX. I didn't know if I was supposed to say that a little bit differently, but okay, yeah. So
I've also heard it pronounced MX, but I don't know why it's called that.
Well, X is, I guess, Spanish for X.
Not sure that it is.
I don't think that it is.
I'm basing off the beer commercial.
Yeah, no, that's different.
Oh, okay.
That's horses.
That's Ekis, as in the horse.
2 horses, yeah.
I really thought there's 2 X's on the label.
There are 2 X's on the label, but
so what am I to believe?
Well, there's only 1 X in Liga MX, so regardless, let's just.
I think you're safe saying Liga MX.
Guys,
we've already spent too much time talking about that.
Of course we have. It's our brand, guys.
That's right. We can't beat it to death. Why not? Why
exactly. Anyway, kids, go online. URL is not friendly, so just Google it. Voting for MLS All-Star Game. And you can pick the folks that you should be on the team.
There's a ton of Union players that you can pick to put on it, but
yeah.
Like if Kai Wagner doesn't get serious consideration, and Jack McGlynn and Quinn Sullivan, and that would be awesome.
And if they don't get on, you're just gonna upend your desk. So, but that will
Union Hulk smash on it.
Exactly. You might as well. He's not. So voting ends at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on June 10th.
So we're voting for who we want in the various positions, I guess. That's how it works. Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. And they have a list. So you click on the position, gives you a list of options. You also get to select one of your selections. Sorry for the double word there. As captain. So you can also vote for that. So get on there and load it with the Union folks. Yeah. Let's do it.
Load them up.
Move them out. Okay. Anything else, guys?
I mean, I know this is a little bit of a preview for next week, as we don't have any upcoming Union games. So it's a nice little break from all the draws. But yeah, we hope to have an interview lined up for next week. So you guys will want to be able to tune in for that one.
Yep.
Come back and find out who.
Yep. Yeah. Part of the Union verse.
The Union verse.
Yep.
I like that.
So, okay. Well, I think that does it for this week.
It's a draw.
It's a draw in so many senses. Damien Lowe, simmer down now.
Yeah. I'm expecting him to come in and slide tackle one of us.
Pretty much.
That would be Elliot.
That'd be Elliot,
yeah. You're right. You are right.
I wouldn't say no to that, though. That'd be kind of like, as long as he signs my cast afterwards.
Comes on the podcast.
See this scar? Yeah, it's that much.
That's part of the settlement. You got to come onto our podcast.
All right, Punchy Boys. Our website is amorephillyunion.com. Email pod@amorephillyunion.com. On Instagram, YouTube, and Threads, we are amorephillyunion. And on Twitter, we are amorephillyu. We also have a Spotify playlist.
Yes.
And also named amorephillyunion, but it's under playlist, and you can find it. And it has little musical notes. You've got it. I believe in you.
You have to make your own kind of music.
That's right. Make your own kind. Get our podcast wherever you get yours. We are everywhere. Apple, Spotify, Amazon TuneIn, etc., etc., etc. And
we dare you to find a podcast provider that doesn't have us. Then let us know, and we'll fix it.
Yeah, do let us know if that happens, because we want to take care of that.
If it's like Mike's podcast discount emporium.
Well, yeah, maybe less concerned about that. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another episode of Amorephillyunion. We are your hosts. I'm C.
I'm E.
And I'm Paul.
Union. All right, let's go, guys.
All right.
Yep.
Go to bed.
Go to bed.